Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another review. There's another paid request for Jonathan Lindsey. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, reviews, topics, randomness, writings, commentaries, out of the blueness, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for another episode of Animaniacs, another Halloween episode. This is actually episode 30. And this one I didn't mind. I thought this was pretty decent, pretty alright episode. The first segment being my favorite. Like I said, as I watch these Animaniacs episodes, the best one seems to be with the three main characters, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. Because their energy, what they bring to it, the writing. I'm not going to say edgy, that's the wrong word. Clever. Clever writing that with some surprising references. I mean, you see Saddam Hussein dropped into hell. You don't see that every day on a fucking cartoon. And then in hell, you have Satan, voiced by Ron Perlman, Hellboy himself. And I believe this is before Hellboy, well before Hellboy, so that's kind of ironic. He voiced Satan, and then he would go play Hellboy. But always nice to hear Ron Perlman, good actor. And the three... There's another reference. There's these three ladies singing. I think they're supposed to be the Andrews Sisters. People are like, who the hell is that? The Andrews Sisters was a group of ladies that back in the day, especially around the 1930s and 40s, even the 50s, they would... a trio of ladies that would sing songs. And I heard them in Abbott and Costello movies. In particular, they were in a film called Buck Privates, which was the first big Abbott and Costello movie that really made them go on to be fairly solid box office stars. Just then they did Abbott and Costello Beat Frankenstein and all these other movies, but Buck Privates was kind of the first Abbott and Costello movie that really brought them into prominence. And then they had their own TV show. But anyway, the Andrews Sisters would sing. And people forget, back in the day, there were a lot of movies back then where they felt that there had to be some kind of musical motif in it. Like, you have your comedy, but there's got to be moments where it stops, and then you have people singing and dancing, and that's what people need, because you need that. You can't just have a comedy itself, and it also needs to be a musical. That happened a decent amount back then. And the Andrews Sisters, I believe that's who they were referencing. So that was nice to see. But our three characters made a wrong turn. They're in hell, and they pretty much annoy the piss out of hell. I mean, out of Satan. And when I was talking about the clever writing, I believe it's Wacko. Is like, wait a minute, we're where? He runs up, he gets a snowball, he runs down and it melts. And it's like, oh, they were right. It's literally a visual gag on the phrase, you don't have a snowball's chance in hell. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing that for? Oh, okay. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, oh, okay, that was actually pretty clever. It didn't say snowball's chance in hell, but the visual totally... I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that was pretty clever. I thought that was pretty funny. And that's the thing with these three. I think because these three characters are so positive, they're annoying, but they're not so annoying that they're annoying me. They're just annoying but funny to annoy the individual they're talking to, but they're not irritating to the viewer. At least that's how I feel. And because they can do pretty much anything they want, they piss off Satan. Look at me, I'm a giraffe. And he grows taller, Satan grows taller. And like Satan's like, I'm gonna make you suffer, I'm gonna make you listen to protest songs from the 1960s. And they do host a Star Trek where Rob Paulsen, who's the voice of Raphael in the 80s Ninja Turtle cartoons, and the voice of Donatello in the 2012 Ninja Turtle cartoons, he voiced a lot of different characters. He voices Yakko. he's talking like William Shatner, and they even reference to Bones, Dr. McCoy. I'm a, I'm a doctor, not a magician, Jim. And they pretty much annoy Satan enough to get kicked out of hell. Like that was a fun set. Like I said, the ones with the three main characters, those are ones that have some pretty clever pieces of writing. They do push a little bit of the edge of what you could do on a cartoon. At least this type of cartoon. And it was nice to hear Ron Perlman's voice. That was a nice addition. And there's 3 segments in this. The second one is... I wouldn't say... It deals with this character named Minerva Mink. I would imagine this was the awake... This is probably the awakening of a lot of furries. I have nothing against furries. If you're a furry, right on, man. But I'm just saying, this one definitely... People wonder, why are there furries? Because you had cartoons like this, where Minerva Mink, they try to make her as sexy as possible, and literally all the male animals are horny as fuck for her and her blonde hair and her ready-to-go tits. And all the male animals, a bunny, a frog, a bird, they're ready to... And their wives are like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's saying stuff like, I have to wear something sleek and scandalous. Cuddle up close and cuddly. And this nerdy wolf wants to get with her. She's telling him to fuck off. So she's a bit of an uptight bitch. Because the wolf's not doing anything mean or rude. It's just, you look like a nerd. Fuck off. I'm like, well, fuck you. So she's an uptight bitch. But then you find out he's a werewolf. So when the moons fall, he turns to a muscle bound. And then she's like, ah. And when he's muscle bound, he's like, the fucking... He don't have a 6-pack, he got an 8-pack. And then all the female animals go horny. So it's evenly progressive. It's for the guys and the girls. See, it's progressive. It's equal. It's not just the guys being horny, it's the girls being horny too. But it was just weird to see this on a cartoon. Because I'm like, any minute now, is this going to be like a Skinemax for cartoons? Because this guy's like buff. This girl's ready to suck some dick. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? The birth of furries has come to fruition with this cartoon, this episode. I just like... I Minerva Mink, again, she's not really a likable character because she only go out with you if you're hot and you got like muscles, more muscles than Arnold Schwarzenegger. People go, well, you... Now people go, well, what about you? Would you go out with a lady that has a little extra padding? Yes. If she's a bit thinner, I'd be like, eat a couple bits more food, but I'd be fine. Padding? Yeah, I'd be fine too. Would not have to be a fucking swimsuit model. I'm more open-minded than that. But not this girl. If you're not muscle up on muscles, she tells you to fuck off. I'm like, well, fuck you. So it was a bit weird. I didn't watch because it's like 2 steps away from being a porn. That's what it felt like as I'm watching. I'm like, again, like everybody's fucking horny in this episode. Something you'll not see nowadays. So again, I was kind of entranced with, wow, they got away with this, and no one thought anything of it. No one thought anything of it. And you look back and you go, wow, again, why do you think all the male animals are being happy? And why do you think all the girls are being happy? Because what the, you know. But I mean, it's not just that cartoon. There's a gluttony of cartoons back to the day that had that happen. Even back to the days of Looney Tunes with the wolf, and you have this, animated characters, whether they have or not, being as sexy as possible, as if they got the tits out and they're showing the legs, and I'm like, again, people wonder where do all the furries come from? Well, this is where they came from. And I have nothing against someone who's a furry. As long as you're not hurting anyone and you're not hurting yourself, I don't give a shit. Um, I mean, I can't really say anything because I liked Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and she's a cartoon. She's not real. But I looked at Jessica Rabbit, I'm like, I'd do it. I mean, but there you go. What can I say? It's Jessica Rabbit. But I mean, she's not real. So who am I to judge? I'm not going to judge you. Give a fuck. If they're real, clean, above 22, why not 18? Well, they did 22, and not married and not ready to do a Lorena Bobbitt on me, then I'm fine. Whatever as long as those credentials, I didn't be 22 and above, you're clean, you're single, and you're not ready to kill my ass, or then Lorena Bobbitt, can't even do it right, you take the thing. Okay, you get the head. If you don't know who Lorena Bobbitt is, don't look it up. Anyway, so it was, at least it was evenly progressive because it was both guys and girls being horny as fuck. And then the third story was Mr. Skullhead, which the Animaniacs, the three leads, they seen him up and then they seen him off. And it's like a weird take on Edward Scissorhands, which I didn't expect, but that made it kind of funny because it's like Edward Scissorhands, but you have a character that literally just a skeleton. Oh, you have bony hands, and then he gets pulled by a dog and buried. And I go, I guess that's the end of Mr. Skullhead. Like, wow, that's a pretty weird take on Scissorhands. So, I mean, it was a fun episode to watch. I liked the first one the best, with the three main characters and Ron Perlman as Satan. The second one was almost a porno. And the third one was very small, quick, short. Again, kind of a funny take on Edward Scissorhands. So I didn't mind that one. And it didn't last too long. That's what she said. But yeah, overall, Animaniacs, definitely an interesting show that you don't quite know what to expect. But that's actually a positive, I guess. So there you go. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.